Good morning. Welcome to Bazaar Morning Call. I'm Lata and with me are Anuj and Sonia. Okay, I think we've only got confusion on the horizon. The US market handover has been positive, but that's not always helped Asia or India. Asia is mixed. Japan, at least, some of the markets are starting in the green, but it's not as if it's a runaway rally or making up for any of the losses. The hope for India is that flows from the Chinese ed tech sector, on which there has been a crackdown, could come into India. But at the moment, we can't be extremely positive about flows into India anyways, because the numbers are not indicating that. The last FII number is 2,377 crore minus. So that's not looking like a great deal of flows are coming. Maybe you can have some hope in the days to come. I'm just clutching at straws to look for some silver lining. If you looked at the results, Axis Bank, L&T, okay, maybe a little below expectation here and there, but there is no silver lining that the bulls can clutch onto, and certainly not in Tata Motors. So I'm really at a loss to see how the bulls can make a match of this. But there could be positioning. Good morning, Anuj. Are they positioned in such a way that we could expect some hope?
Good morning, Lata. Issue here is that the SGX Nifty is indicating a bit of an uptick at start itself. I think today is perhaps a bit of a no trade zone because I'll tell you the reason for that. First of all, the FI selling just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Yesterday there was selling of about 2,300 crores in cash market. In fact, in July, we have seen selling of about 15,000 crores, almost 15,000 crores. But if you are an optimist, you would say that despite 15,000 crores of selling, the market is actually up. It's not down. So it's telling you that it's got the ability to absorb some of the selling. Now, it's expiry week, so I'm just looking at the options data. Yesterday, there was clearly a lot of option writing. 15,900 call and 15,800 put. So the option writers seem to believe that the market will remain in 15,750 to 15,950 band. If you adjust for the premium of this. And yesterday's range was also 15,800 to 15,900, give or take 3 or 4 points here or there. The bigger move happens if you break this range, 15,800 on the downside or 15,900 on the upside. I think the problem for the market from the Nifty point of view is the two biggest stocks, Reliance and HDFC Bank. Reliance and HDFC Bank put together have 20% weight in the index, and this month HDFC Bank is down 4%, Reliance is down nearly 2%. Again, I come back to the point that so much FI is selling, the two biggest stocks down so much, still the market's up. So inherently there's strength in the market, and that's reflected in the way the broader market's moving up. I think this market has shown its tendency or its inclination to hit an all-time high and to go past 16,000 despite all the irritants. So let's see if we can do it perhaps this week or next week. But the market has shown more strength than weakness is how I would look at the overall data points.
Partly, practically no risk asset has shown weakness for the past many months.
Yeah.
So there is that inherent liquidity strength which is
absolutely
pushing
even
up
something
everything.
like a Bitcoin, from 28,000 to 36,000 was a sharp move. Morning, Sonia.
Hi, good morning. Given that earnings is not the prettiest picture, right? I mean, we are having some niggling worries in the banking space, Tata Motors, showing that COVID is a reality, and that's hit the earnings this quarter around. What do you think the next big trigger can be that can take the markets out of this sort of zone of funk that it's in right now?
One good thing is Tata Motors had prepared us for that. They had told us that, look, we won't have good earnings, and that's why the stock's also fallen from 350 to where it's fallen. And I think one thing with Tata Motors, Sonia, is that, and we were discussing this, that Tata Motors will perhaps go through some kind of derating because it's a 6-month issue, and in this market you don't want to block your money. There's enough stocks available, other opportunities available, so you'll do that. But the fundamental problem with Tata Motors is not demand. The fundamental problem with Tata Motors is because of that semiconductor issue and a couple of other issues. They just can't make enough cars. So that is the problem.
It's a supply issue.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, the stocks reflected some of that fall from 350 to where it is 293 at a time when the market's still done well. On the banks, I think one thing which is very clear is that HDFC Bank has given up some of the leadership, and that's gone to ICICI Bank, even some of the other fintechs. Going forward, I don't know which of the fintechs, and that's going to be the big issue from here on, because the biggest sector for our market is financials, right? And in that, new sector, new themes will emerge. Paytm will list, for example. So a lot of money would shift to Paytm going forward. But all of that right now is you can't second guess which one of these will succeed. As of now, the 3 or 4 biggest players, I think they still remain your best bets. I think even HDFC Bank at some point, Sonia, if it corrects more, anecdotally, people would come out and buy, because at the end of the day, you take the bet on an institution. And the institution is still quite strong. So let's see. Overall, I think on the results front, they have been more good than bad. I would still say that. Yesterday SBI Life's results, for example,
Very good.
they're very good. So in individual stocks, individual segments, I think you're still finding decent numbers. Again, I would say the same thing, that if the market is moving on and making highs despite bad news, that means the market is still, what you call a classical bull market.
No, the fact that the bottom is protected is a given.
Yeah.
It is just that are there enough reasons for it to climb?
Yeah.
That groove to climb doesn't seem to be on the horizon just yet. But it's not a long jump to 16,000. I mean, if you're at 15,825, 850, it's not a long haul. Maybe one FNO expiry day is enough to make that leap, All right, let's leave it to the experts and get to the equity call of the morning. Surendra Goyal of Citi is our expert, and he says, with the first large listing in Indian internet e-commerce and multiple listings lined up, investors will get more choices to play the new economy in India. He says the opportunity is huge. The space was 12% to 20% of market cap, 12% in US and 20% in China at the end of 2020. But execution will be key. He says these will likely benefit India's weight in regional benchmarks. He highlights a couple of proxy plays like Jubilant Food and Bajaj Finance, and says they add Jubilant Food in May and have now added Bajaj Finance to their India model portfolio.
Okay, interesting calls taken over there. But let's also get you some money market view. So on the rupee, yesterday the rupee dropped by about 2 paise or so, but it snapped its 3-day winning streak, so ended at 74.41. Here's the expectation for today. Bhaskar Panda of HDFC Bank says the US stocks ended higher. In a choppy session, the US bond yields remained steady and global crude prices remained biddish overnight. He says the FOMC meeting outcome this week will be in focus. He says the dollar INR remained a slave to global developments and healthy inflows. He adds the dollar INR pair traded cautiously in a narrow range, and this trend will continue today as well. He expects it to trade in a range of 74.35 to 74.55 for the trading day.
Okay, and on bonds, not much happening. Bhaskar Panda says Indian benchmark bond yields, especially the 10-year, has been inching higher slowly on higher inflation worries. He expects the 10-year benchmark yield to trade in a range of 6.15 to 6.20 for the day.
Okay, let's talk about the global cues then. Here's Mangalam with the world view.
Well, yesterday when we closed for trade, the Dow futures was down by almost 200 points. This morning when we wake up, they've eked out some gains. In fact, a record high for most of the indices on Wall Street. But it's a big earnings day on Wall Street today. We do have big tech numbers coming in from Google, Microsoft, as well as Apple, as big as it gets. And not just that, even from the other economy, the real economy, we have numbers coming in from Starbucks, we have numbers coming in from UPS as well. So those are something that the street will most definitely keep an eye out on. Talking about keeping an eye out on a couple of things, we'll also watch out for the US Fed's 2-day monetary policy meeting that begins today. Tomorrow, of course, we will have the outcome of that. We will keep an eye out on Bitcoin as well. From 30,000, it surged past 40,000 as the sentiment turns risk on. So that is something that the street is watching out for. And across the Atlantic, we will see some muted cues coming in from the European markets out here. What has happened is sentiment has been impeded, as we've seen from the German business sentiment number, which is coming at 101.7 versus 102.1, which was expected, and this is primarily on account of rising COVID cases. This morning, Asia is a tale of two cities. We have on the one hand the Japanese as well as the Korean indices doing well, but on the other hand we have Hang Seng and Shanghai, both of them trading at the lows of trade, and this is primarily on account of the Chinese crackdown. What does this mean for the SGX